Hi, welcome to Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. My name is George, and our co-host Nomi will not be here today. So we're going to talk about what this means, this idea that our wills and our reality is actually causal. Um, this is huge. This couldn't be huger. This represents a new stage of civilization. I'm trying to think of a comparable um, similar shift, and it's hard to do that. I mean, like we went from like understanding that, or from thinking that our Earth was flat, to understanding that that we're an orb. We went from seeing ourselves as the center of the solar system to seeing ourselves as a third planet. But these things, I mean, while they might have help our astronomy and help us, get to the moon and back, they don't really affect our personal day-to-day lives and our lives, as a society, as a civilization. But this idea that free will is an illusion and that causality is what determines everything, cause and effect, or seen differently, that if we have an unconscious that's always awake and active, then we can't have a free will. Then we begin to understand that it's a paradigm shift in our consciousness that's happening. Transcending, overcoming this illusion of free will. What will it mean to the world? Well, naturally, I can only predict, because not having a free will, I can't, compel either myself or the universe to unfold, our world to unfold in any way. But my best guess would be, I believe the truth is generally a better guide to what we do and how we do what we do than deception, than some kind of illusion. So I believe that by our world transcending this illusion of free will, we're going to emerge into a much more intelligent, compassionate, functioning, happier world, happier world. Because firstly, in other episodes I've explored how blame hurts us, in our interpersonal relations, how when we attribute free will to others and to ourselves, we will tend to blame others and ourselves for our misgivings, our human, compelled foibles, our, what we do wrong. But so we've seen that on a personal level, but now, naturally, when we have a causal will perspective, we understand that, wait, we're doing these things not because of our choosing, but because the causal past has compelled us. So we've gone through how understanding our wills to be causal can lead to greater compassion and understanding and lack of judgment. But now, like in this, let's take a bit of a look at how this understanding affects our global civilization. Uh, um, look at war, or the threat of war, conflict, geopolitical conflict between nations. It's based on the illusion of free will. We're saying to ourselves, well, those people from other countries have a free will, and they're doing something we don't agree with, whatever. So, we're gonna start a war. We're gonna go to war. And whereas, what's the other choice? The other choice is, like, you say to yourself, all right, well, those other countries may be doing things that that may appear to not be in our self-interest, in our best interest, or maybe just are not, quite objectively, if we can make that judgment. But when we look at that from a causal will perspective, we will also say, but wait a minute, those people from that country, the leaders, their government, the people, the citizens, they're not compelled. They're not. Their actions are completely compelled. What they're doing is completely compelled. They don't have a free will, so that like going to war, punishing a whole country for things that nobody in that country could have done any other way, just is the height of insanity. You know, just like it doesn't make sense. So that's just one way of many that that will change, you know, as we transcend this delusion of free will and understand that that our reality and our wills are causal. So I really have every hope and expectation that that this new era, this new causal reality era, will bring out the best in us. And it's also, you know, sometimes this show is about, you know, the illusion of free will, the reality of causal will, or causal will. But you have to remember, causality isn't limited to human will. Causality controls everything. And I think now is the time for state of the universe explanation of how this is so. Okay, take the state of the universe at this very moment in time. The state of the universe at the previous moment in time was what created it, you know, what caused it to be. Then the state of the universe at the subsequent moment, the next moment, will be completely determined by the state of the universe that previous moment. Okay, now that's the most objective, all-encompassing, universal description of causality that's possible. It relates to the entire universe, state by state, moment by moment. Okay, so then what we see is that we don't have free wills. We have causal wills because reality isn't free. Reality is causal. You know, reality can't decide to be one way, whatever. Reality goes by these certain laws, by this causal progression of events. And that's the other thing I think that is pretty amazing in terms of like what this all means. You know, it may not have such direct geopolitical implications as I was exploring before in terms of war, how like you know, when we see ourselves and each other as not having a free will, we will be kinder and more cooperative with each other and less aggressive, less hostile. But yeah, it's just very cool to just realize that it extends beyond the human will to all of reality. That basically, what I'm trying to say is this is a movie, okay? I don't know what you're doing right now, if you're watching this, whatever. Whatever you're doing, whatever you did in the past, what you're going to do in the future, what we all did in the past, present, and will do in the future is completely determined. It's not up to us, you know, and that is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, it's a movie. It is a movie, and well then, what does this mean? This means that the world is so much more wonderful than we have believed it to be. If we're so completely deluded about the very nature of why we do everything we do, and we're so completely deluded, well, I don't think we're as deluded about causality, because we tend to like understand causality when it relates to physical things, you know, cause and effect. But if we're so deluded in terms of like believing that we have a free will, and then we come to understand that our wills are causal, that everything is cause and effect, that changes everything. If it makes reality far more wonderful than it is under the free will perspective. The free will perspective just confuses everyone, okay, because it doesn't make sense, you know, when you explore it. And so, like, you know, where our whole lives are based on this premise that's wrong, or at least a significant aspect of it. And again, we're not to blame for this. We didn't choose to be deluded in this way. We didn't choose to say to ourselves, well, yes, we have a free will. That was equally compelled. And so, yeah, the great irony is like the universe compels us to believe that a delusion is reality. And now it seems like it's time for the universe, that the universe is compelling us to understand that no, free will is not the reality that causal will is. And I mean, I came to this understanding probably several decades ago. I don't remember how long it was ago, but it's a fascinating topic to contemplate that everything is a movie, that we're just actors, robots, automatons, whatever. Yeah, it may have an element of unpleasantness in a way. I mean, but that unpleasantness actually just comes from the ego. The ego, we have this part of ourselves that says, well, I want to take credit for what I do. I want it to be up to me. And but so then we give that up. We give that up. We instead see that there is no individual me. There's a one. There's a one universe, one reality that proceeds from moment to moment to moment in a causal fashion, cause and effect. And that's what compels us to do everything we do. And but it's amazing. It's amazing that we could, that we have for so long, for a few millennia at least 2 millennia, fallen prey to this delusion of free will. Okay, I think one thing this will mean is that the world will become a lot more intelligent. I mean, we'll exercise greater intelligence because, seeing human will as free is not intelligent. It's very unintelligent. There's absolutely no evidence that we have a free will, and there's conclusive, irrefutable evidence that that our wills are causal. And it's amazing. It's just amazing. And so, our world, I think, needs to change. I think, again, considering climate change, the global economy, we need great changes. And I have a feeling that as we understand that our wills are causal rather than free, these changes will come about much more intelligently, probably much more quickly.